Now, the European Union threatening to ban Twitter as Elon Musk moves to cut censorship as part of his plan to uphold free speech. The Financial Times reports the EU's Commissioner for Digital Policy gave Musk a list of regulations he must implement, including ditching his arbitrary approach to reinstating banned users, aggressively pursuing disinformation, agreeing to an independent audit by next year. Let's remember that Twitter is a private company, but the EU thinks that they control it. With that, let's bring in House Oversight Committee ranking member, Kentucky Congressman James Comer. Congressman Comer, back to this admission by this guy who literally was in charge of determining what stayed and what went on Twitter. This is part of a pattern of all these high-ups 2-3 years after the fact saying, oh, we messed up. Some good it does now, huh, Congressman?
Well, better late than never, and it's very encouraging that people are coming forward now. And I think this is one of the results of the Republican victories in the midterm elections. I think you're going to start seeing executives with not just Twitter, but also Facebook come forward and admit that they were influenced by people from the Democrat National Committee, people from the FBI, and even people from the Biden administration. You know, prior to Elon Musk, Twitter essentially served as a wholly owned subsidiary of the Democrat National Committee. Now they've lost that, and there's complete panic in Washington, D.C. among Democrats.
Well, also, Elon Musk did post this tweet saying it's clear that Twitter interfered in elections, which is a really loaded statement because Democrats have claimed election integrity and the threat to democracy as their issue. So what do you make of that tweet by Elon Musk? What do you think he's referring to there?
Well, I think that Elon Musk knows that there are other stories that Twitter was told to suppress that affected conservatives in a negative way and helped Democrats. This is something that's wrong. This is the government directly interfering with free speech, especially conservatives' free speech. And I think that Elon Musk wants to set the record straight. You know, prior to Elon Musk buying Twitter, the Republicans on the House Oversight Committee sent letters to Twitter executives asking for preservation of documents between any communication of Twitter executives and people with the FBI, Democrat National Committee, or the Biden administration. I'm hopeful that Elon Musk will turn those over. Again, we asked for preservation of documents, so I think that the American people are about to get some answers to some questions that we've had for a long time.
And there's also this Commerce Department appointee with significant ties to Hunter Biden. John Nevergole, emailing Hunter Biden in December 2014 to wish him a Merry Christmas, said he was looking forward to a successful and profitable year. I write a lot of emails around the holidays. I never tell anybody I hope it's a profitable year unless I'm in business with them.
You should tell me that.
I will. And in 2015, Nevergole telling Hunter Biden in an email he wanted to catch up with them to go over some ideas on how we can work together overall on the China initiative. So you have profit, you have China. Either Joe Biden has no idea who he's appointing to these commerce posts, or, contrary to what he loves to claim, he knew darn well what was going on with Hunter's business. Which is worse, Congressman?
Well, the president knew darn well exactly everything Hunter Biden was involved in. This has been a family business for a long time. The family business is influence peddling. Unfortunately for Americans, the influence peddling involved China trying to help them getting the foot in the door in Africa. Remember the cobalt mine that Hunter's firm negotiated a deal from an American company to a Chinese company? This puts us at a further disadvantage to China in the electric vehicle market that Joe Biden's trying to push down everyone's throats. Now we find out that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden were involved with an energy company that was trying to start purchasing interest in American drillers for the natural gas industry. The more we learn about Hunter Biden's business associates, the worse it sounds. And now we have information that Joe Biden just hired one of his former business associates in the Commerce Cabinet. This is wrong. This has to stop. That's why we're investigating Joe Biden and the Biden family influence peddling in the House Oversight Committee.
South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is speaking out against TikTok. She just signed an executive order banning it from state phones and other devices. Listen to her here as to why she did that. Watch this.
You look at how they have manipulated algorithms and think about how China has manipulated the algorithms to spy on the American people and collect data off of them. It's so much worse. And they're our enemy. They hate us. This is why it's so important that other elected officials take action as well.
What do you think about this, Congressman? FBI Director Christopher Wray also called TikTok a national security issue, but it's on the cell phone of every teenager in America. Is Kristi Noem onto something in banning it from state devices? Should the federal government follow suit?
Good for Governor Kristi Noem. This was the right decision. Donald Trump was right. He was the first person that initiated a warning about TikTok. And what we've learned is they very well are using Americans' data to determine things like their location. It's one thing to use data to determine browser history to try to market products or whatever, but they also have location history, and that's very dangerous for every American. This is something that the federal government needs to take seriously. I'm glad that Kristi Noem is the first governor to take the lead on this, and I hope that our federal government will follow.
But do you think that will happen? Because as you well know, Congressman, TikTok has a robust lobbying effort in the halls of Congress through ex-congressmen and women who are getting paid a boatload to basically jeopardize American security. That's sick in and of itself. So do you believe that the investigations into TikTok will happen?
Well, the investigations are going to happen, I can tell you that, from a congressional standpoint, with 100% certainty from the House Oversight Committee. But clearly, the Biden administration is not taking TikTok seriously. Again, Donald Trump was the first person to warn about it. Governor Noem's the first governor to take action. And this should be a priority for the Homeland Security Cabinet. This should be a priority for congressional investigators. This is very serious. Twitter executives have lied to Congress when they said that that data never left the state of Washington, where they had data centers. Now we know from whistleblowers at Twitter that they did, in fact, send that data to China. This is more evidence that China is increasing their spying game on America, and something has to be done.
Yeah, TikTok as opposed to Twitter, I believe you mean.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, I apologize.
Both social media apps, both start with T's, and it's 4:14 in the morning.
TikTok, my bad. It's very early in the morning. TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that you have a tie on right now,
it's impressive.
You get kudos and 10 points. I do want to ask you about where things stand with the bill to avert this rail strike. It passed in the House yesterday. Now there is concern that it could get held up in the Senate. A whole bunch of conversation over a separate bill for 7 days of paid sick time. Can you explain this, and if Americans still need to be worried about this rail strike?
Yeah, this stems from Joe Biden's earlier negotiations with certain unions in the rail industry. Obviously, this day was going to come. You can't show favoritism to a few unions and expect the other rail unions not to try to react. So we were in this position because of Joe Biden's failed leadership with the unions, which he's supposed to be a union guy. Obviously, this is something that I don't believe Congress should be involved in. I don't believe it's Congress's role to negotiate with unions. So I voted against the bill, but obviously the bill passed. We're always going to have Republicans in the Senate that are going to go along with this administration. Unfortunately, this is something that I hope doesn't set a precedent and doesn't become the norm in Congress, where Congress is having to step in to approve more benefits for unions when they're threatening to strike at a time when it could, completely devastate our fractured supply system right now.
Biden talks like such a tough guy, but Amtrak Joe didn't want to take on the unions, and he caved and said, it's your situation now, Congress. Congressman James Comer, always getting up with us early, 4 a.m. We appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.